Well, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. So glad you're here today. We're talking about productivity as part of the nursing school mindset edit. I believe this is, how many days have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is day number 5 of 35 days of me going live and talking about mindset shifts and tips and things for nursing school. So, super glad that you're here. This is going to be pretty quick because we want to be super productive, right? So, I'm talking today about productivity. And the reason this is so important in nursing school is that you're very busy, obviously, and your schedule is really intense, and you have a lot of things to do, a lot of exams to study for, etc. It's a lot. Really important to understand that being busy does not necessarily mean being productive. Okay, so there's a really big difference between busyness and productivity. And if you're just busy and you're not getting anything accomplished, you're not being very productive. And nursing school is all about checking those things off the list. And I would say, even when you're working as a nurse, you got to get stuff done. You've got to get your assessments done. You've got to get them charted. You've got to get your meds in and all your other interventions. You need to be super productive. And that often means starting tasks and also finishing them. Don't leave them halfway done. I'm super guilty of that. I get distracted. So this is a great reminder for me as well. Okay, so hello to everybody. I've got Blue Isis, I've got Anne, I've got Rudy, and probably some others. So hello everybody. All right, so the very first thing I will say about productivity is that you have to have a plan for what you're actually going to accomplish. I like to make my plans at the beginning of the week, kind of looking at the week ahead. When I was a student, I did this on Sunday evenings. I would plan out my whole week, and then I kind of had a feel for what I was going to get accomplished and what I was going to be focusing on each day. And not just each day, but basically each hour of each day, because I planned out and blocked out my time. So plan your schedule. Don't just make a list of things that you need to do. You need to allocate, when am I going to do the things that are on this list. So if you're not yet really diving into using some kind of planning system, whether it's a paper planner or a digital calendar like Google Calendar, really get into those habits now and getting very specific about what your plans are for the week. And then what I like to do is I like to take a look at the next day the night before. That really sets me up to just kind of have a feel for what the next day is going to be like, especially if I've got something early in the morning. I can't tell you how many times this has come back around to bite me, where I haven't checked my schedule the night before, and the next morning I get up and do my usual thing, get my coffee, and realize, oh shoot, I was supposed to hop on a call at 7 a.m. and I missed it. So look at your next day the night before, get yourself into the mindset of what you're going to be working on the next day, and then you can go to bed with a clear mind, knowing that tomorrow's already kind of figured out, right? And the next thing I would say about your planning, as you're looking at your schedule, planning things out, look at what you have to do. What tasks are the hardest? What tasks or assignments require the most focus? And plan those for when you are able to most focus. For me, that's first thing in the morning, between like 6 a.m. to 10 or 11 a.m. That's my go time. And I know that if I've got to do anything that really requires my brain to super function, I'm going to do it then. And then I'll do simpler tasks later in the day. So schedule your time according to how your brain works. Okay. All right. So that was about planning. That was number one. The next one is about focus sessions. Now, you may hear this called a focus flow session. I've heard it called tiger time, which I really like because it's like, I, the tiger, I'm going to get in there and get stuff done. Whatever it is, plan out your focus flow sessions. And that might be that time period where you are absolutely your most engaged and able to just zone in. So when you have a tiger time or a focus flow session, you're turning off all notifications everywhere because you don't want to get disrupted. This just happened to me a second ago. I'm sitting here in my little studio. I hear my text message ding in the other room because I hadn't turned off the notification. I immediately got up to go look at it, and I'm thinking, well, that was ridiculous. I don't need to go see what that text is right now. But it's like I'm trained. Ding, go check, right? Email comes in. Oh, I got to go check. So you're turning off all your notifications for your focus flow sessions. That means your text messages, your social media messages. Put your phone in the other room, put it on airplane mode, whatever. With email, that's the one that gets me, man. And I talk about email a lot in my program boot camp and in the 5-day Get Organized challenge. I talk about it there as well. And I'm so guilty of not having good email hygiene. And then I'll get better and then I'll slip back into my old ways. So this is also a fabulous reminder. Email does not control your life. I know we get a lot of emails every day because that's a key way that people communicate, but it doesn't mean you have to stop and look at it and answer it at that exact moment, right? So a really good habit to get into is not even opening your email program until you're ready to devote time to actually going through your emails, and then close it down again. Because I'll tell you, if I'm sitting there and I'm working on a project and I see an email come through, I automatically think, oh, I need to check that. Somebody might need help, or it might be really important. Well, whatever it is, it can wait a few hours until I get through my focus session, and then I can dedicate some time to doing it. So email's the one where I am super, super guilty. So again, we're turning off all notifications, Slack, text, email, social media, phone, all of it. And we're going to focus. Okay, we're going to have those sessions, and they're really, really powerful. You'll be surprised at how much you can get done when you intentionally say, all right, I'm going to have tiger time for these 2 hours and I'm going to get all these things done. You will jam it out. All right. And then with that, we're going to minimize distractions beyond just those notifications. So one of my biggest distractions, I'm not even going to lie, is my cat, because he's kind of needy. And you've probably heard him meowing on the podcast before, or at least purring, because sometimes he gets it in his head that if I don't touch him right now, he's going to die. So he's very distracting. So sometimes I just have to put him in another room. One day I was really clued in to how much my cat distracted me, and I was pausing every few minutes to make him stop meowing, pet him, give him a treat, whatever. Nobody has time for that, right? So figure out what your distractions are and do things to minimize them. And then something that I did for a while that was super helpful was I used an app that blocked me from going to other websites while I was working on a specific project. And that really helped me to stay really focused in on what I was doing. And I think the one I used was called Freedom.io, I think, and it was great. I think even with that one, you can say, okay, don't let me go to shopping websites, don't let me go to social media. But of course, you still need to visit websites because maybe you're writing a paper and you need to do research, but it's going to block you from going and checking out Facebook, right? So those are really, really great. You can set timers on those, for the next 2 hours, you're going to block that. So if you have a really hard time kind of regulating yourself with your online distractions, definitely check out something like Freedom.io. I believe there's a free version that you can try. It's really, really helpful. And then sometimes even having music playing distracts me. Your brain might be different. Your brain might need that background noise, but for me, I need total silence when I'm working, unless it's something unless I'm like, not writing words, but maybe I'm designing something, a layout thing, then I can play music in the background. But otherwise, I need total and complete silence. Your brain may work differently. You may need music. You may even need something else. But whatever it is, do it so that it's not distracting you, right? And then obviously, another distraction is, oh, I got to go reheat my coffee, or, oh, it's hot in this room, or this chair is uncomfortable, or my shirt is itchy. Like those kinds of things, you might not think about them in advance, but they really can be distracting. So make sure that you're comfortable, you're hydrated, you've got food, you're not going to be hangry and have low blood sugar, have a snack, whatever, okay? So that was number 3, minimizing distractions. And then we're going to talk about the Pomodoro technique, which is another way, it's kind of another way to do a focus flow session, but it's a little bit smaller chunks. So what this is the Pomodoro technique, and you can set the timings for how long your sessions are in an app, and I want to say the name of it was called Focus Keeper. I think that's a free app for iPhone, and I feel like there's alternate similar ones for Android as well. But you set a time limit. A common one is 25-minute session, super focused, hyper focused for 25 minutes, and then this little timer thing dings at you, and then you take a small break, like a 2-minute break or a 3-minute break or whatever it is. so that you can stand up, stretch, get a drink of water, whatever. And then you do another 25-minute session, and then you get a small break. And then you do another 25-minute session, and then maybe a larger break. So that's called the Pomodoro technique, and kind of like the Tiger Time, but broken up into little smaller chunks. If you have a hard time just sitting and focusing for 2 hours, you can sit and focus for 25 minutes. I promise that you can. So the kind of the principle behind why this is so helpful is because of something called Parkinson's law, which is this, I guess it's a reality for me, certainly, probably for a lot of people, but Parkinson's law says that the task that you are doing or the work that you are doing is going to expand to fill the amount of time you've allotted for that work. So let's say you get up on a Tuesday and you say, I am going to write a discussion board post today and reply to 2 of my classmates. You know how you always have to do that. If you don't set a time limit for that, or you think I'm going to do it by lunch, which is like 4 hours from now, guess what? Very good chance that task, that simple task, is going to take the whole time you've allotted for it. If you get up on a Tuesday and say, I'm going to study for my med-surg exam today, chances are you're going to be studying all day for that exam and not get anything else done, and maybe not be the most productive. So with Parkinson's law, your work will expand to fit the amount of time you allot to it. It will also contract to fit the amount of time you allot to it. So if you say, I'm going to write a discussion board post and respond to 2 of my classmates in 90 minutes, you're going to get that done. Well, you have to obviously be realistic about how long a task will take. I feel like 90 minutes to write a post and respond to 2 people is more than enough time. You will get that task done. So using the Pomodoro technique really helps you kind of stick to that adage of picking a focused amount of time to do something and actually completing it in that amount of time. Okay, so that is the Focus Keeper app on iOS, and then there's one for Android. I can't remember the name. It may also have a tomato. Pomodoro is like a tomato sauce. I don't know where that came from, but the Focus Keeper one, I think, has a little tomato as the icon, and the Android one might even have tomato in the name. I'm not sure. I'm picturing it, but I can't see it. All right, so Crystal says, I use that study method, and Amazon has a great turning timer cube. Keeps you away from your phone. Oh, Crystal, maybe it's on Prime Day. Is it still Prime Day, you guys? Thanks for that, Crystal. A turning timer, very interesting. And Anne says, yes, it is Focus Keeper. Okay, great. Thank you, Anne. All right, and then the last little one is to stop multitasking. So multitasking at some point, I don't know, I feel like in the 80s or the 90s, somebody said multitasking is the best thing ever. You're going to get so much done if you can do a bunch of things at the same time. There is no such thing as multitasking. What you are doing is task switching constantly, and that's really, really inefficient for your brain, because your brain has to pick up where you left off with the other task, reacclimate to the new task, come back, reacclimate to the old task, new task, old task, etc. Super, super inefficient and kind of mentally exhausting. So I really want you, as you're working on these productivity tips, using Tiger Time or using the Pomodoro technique and having your plan, is to commit to finishing the tasks that you are doing without multitasking. And if you're working on a really big project, obviously you're not going to write an entire paper in a day. Oh my gosh, I mean, you could, but that doesn't sound like fun for anybody. Just break it up into manageable chunks, right? I'm going to write my introductory paragraph today in this 2-hour period. And then tomorrow I'm going to write, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So break up big projects into smaller tasks. And something I'm super guilty of, I am the queen of distraction, shiny object. I'm going to go look at something else or think of something else that I need to do. And what happens is you do that, and then you get farther and farther and farther away from the thing that you're actually working on until you forget what you were actually trying to accomplish. So what I like to do, and I'm truly trying to get back into this habit, is keep a list. And I call this the later list. Later, like I'm going to do this later. So as you're working on something during your Pomodoro or during your Tiger Time or your Focus Flow session, something else is going to occur to you, right? It always does. Just jot it down on your later list so that it's out of your head. It's not going to swim around and keep distracting you and keep saying, remember to do that. Remember to do that thing. Don't forget to do that thing. You wrote it down, it's out of your head, it's on paper, it's going to happen, or it's in your digital list or whatever you use. Okay, so stop multitasking. You get the urge to go check something or order cat food before you forget, or whatever it is, write it down on your later list and then dedicate some time to tackle your later list at some point in the day when you're not, when you don't need a ton of brain power, right? I do those kind of administrative tasks or small little tasks towards the end of the day when I'm winding down. I don't need my full brain to do them. And I make use of when my brain is functioning to do those harder tasks, okay? Rudy says, YouTube is full of Pomodoro video sessions with or without music. Well, that's super cool, Rudy. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. And then VA Squad said there's also a Chrome extension. You guys, you're full of all the cool hacks. I love it. And Eileen says she does not multitask. Good job, Eileen. That is a really good productivity hygiene to have, okay? I try not to do it. I'm guilty sometimes. I'm always trying to do better. Okay, so that is it for the day, you guys. So it was have a plan about what you're going to accomplish. Try to set that up the beginning of the week and then review it the night before the next day so you know what the game plan is for tomorrow. Minimize your distractions. Use focus flow sessions or Pomodoro sessions and stop multitasking, okay? So if anybody has any questions, you can pop them in. Otherwise, I am going to see you tomorrow where we're going to talk about all the reading in nursing school and why doing all the reading is probably a really bad idea for most people and a way to tackle the reading instead. Okay, so I will see you back here tomorrow, same time for that. And have a great day, everyone. Okay, bye.